It was almost cliche at this point, but once again, you found yourself recalling this similar occasion. As before. It was just like when you stayed behind to clear up Miranda's birthday party. It felt the same way then, the strange mix of emptiness and satisfaction. Casting your eyes around the room, your eyes pulling the falling thread. Like before, there was one member of your ragtag group who wasn't present. Baxter was on the opposite end of the room, still rushing to and fro between various groups and staff, keeping himself occupied. He decided not to get in his way, not while he was busy. The time would come eventually. The wedding might be over, but you still wanted to dance. You resigned yourself to waiting. The trouble took a lot longer than you anticipated. Once all the trash had been cleared away, he started vacuuming the floors. How did he find that? And when you started moving the decorations, he was in the middle of stacking chairs over to the elevators. He passed close by when you began packing the wedding cakes. You called out to him, but all you got was a perfectionatory smile and a tilt of the head before he sped away again. Your heart sank as you turned back to what was left of the groom's cake, which you were slicing to pack into a storage container. He hadn't spoken to you since that one time during the reception. It couldn't have been a coincidence, or for some other reason. For some reason or another, he'd been avoiding you. He'd been avoiding all of you, or maybe you specifically. But it was getting kind of ridiculous. There was almost nobody left in the room. By now, it was you, Poe, Miranda, and Terry. Some of the employees from the building itself, and Baxter. Everyone else had gone. Time was running out. If he left before you got another chance, there was no knowing whether you'd get another. You might never see him again. You looked down from the gate you had made, the last evidence of your collaboration, maybe even your friendship, and you were cut into pieces and put into a box. How symbolic. You and me put through the same thing again. You wouldn't. You summed into your seat, no longer able to stave off the melancholic feeling in the gut. You dealt with old pain. Did it always going to be this way? Take a break? The sound of Miranda's voice pulling you out of your mental quagmire. You've been so focused on Baxter's usual strangeness that you hadn't even registered talking. One look at the surprise on your face was enough for Randy to know that you'd been miles away. She tapped the table in front of you. I can finish up here, Callie. You've been going for ages. And you were up all night, too. Her wide eyes were worried when you looked up into them. And there was a slight pinch in her forehead. Yeah, you should take it easy. Terry's head popped into view behind Miranda. His expression of concern was an exact replica of hers. That was so cute. The way they had gradually taken on each other's mannerisms over the years. At least I have a curve to do. For once, he's got to earn that fifth slice of cake. There was a yelp of indignation as, last but not least, the cove made his appearance over Terry's shoulder. The three of them lined up in high order. Like that was comical. Cove's face was a little pouty, his tone defensive. It wasn't like I didn't want to help out Terry. Besides, it wouldn't be my fifth. It would be, let's see. His fingers, he trailed off, his gaze drifting up, and to one side, he silently counted on his fingers. As a unit, Terry and Miranda rolled their eyes, seeming to realize his mistake. Cove dropped his hand. Anyway, they're right. About the break, Callie. You can leave the rest to me, okay? Oh? This? Miranda pulled up a chair and sat next. Miranda pulled up a chair next to yours and sat down.
Wow.
Leave it all to you, Cove? That's so nice. Huh? Wow, thanks for offering, buddy. It's been such a long day after all. Harry stretched wide and made a ridiculous exaggeration of yawning sound. before flopping down Miranda's lap and throwing an arm around her shoulder. They both grinned at her with all that.
Hey!
I didn't mean that! Stifling a laugh, you got up to leave. Your friends were probably right. You needed to give the wedding walk a rest. You had other things on your mind anyway. You patted her sympathetically on the shoulder as you headed to the far end of the wedding hall, in the direction of the sad someone. For the past hour or so, Baxter had visibly struggled to stay preoccupied. Almost nobody remained for him to give instructions to. There were no more chances to stack or tables to clear. But by now he resorted to standing with his back toward. By now he resorted to standing with his back turned and his arms folded, gazing out over the city through enormous windows, trying his best to look deep in thought. He went forward though. It was about time he could come out of his misery. He approached from behind himself before his name. Baxter? He stiffened at the sound, got his tensing. For a few seconds he was frozen. And then, all at once, Baxter spun around to face you. That unreal smile fixed finally in place. I'm glad. Oh! Good evening again, Callie. Is everything alright with the cleanup? Yep, not my problem anymore. You cleared your throat, shuffling a little on your feet. You've been mulling over a plan of attack, so to speak, but now it came down to it. You weren't convinced it was going to work. I don't know if you remember, but I promised once that I'll give you a call the next time there was one for you. And well, here we are! And Baxter's eyes widened a fraction. Baxter's eyes widened a fraction at that, and his mouth gradually fell open. I see. It's good that everything is, and I see. It's good everything is in hand with respect to Kennedy job. You've been a great help. That didn't bode well. Baxter was amicable as ever, but his body language was closed off. His tone lightened the way he from the go alarmed, that it was a way of his establishing a sense of distance. He inched a little closer, expressing your intent to stay right where you are. This conversation wasn't going over with the pleasantry. The slight hunch to his shoulders. The slight hunch returned to his shoulders. Well, since I have you for a minute, I wanted to mention it earlier, but there was an inconvenient moment.
Lovely.
Your outfit. You look wonderful, Callie. Your sense of style is very tasteful. You are truly a showstopper all to yourself. Though I guess it shouldn't be a surprise at this point. It was years ago, and it is even more so now. He was talking quickly. His eyes never seemed to settle in one place long. In spite of all the comments, you found it all washed over you, without making much of an impression. More than anything, you were disappointed. Baxter was deflecting, and doing so the only way he knew how. Might have been funny to you once. I won't keep you any longer. I'm sure you appreciate the chance to relax after a time week. Before you could react, he stepped away from the window. In an instant, he was in line with you. In another, he passed. You knew the whole song and dance went. He led you through it once before. You tried your hardest, but if Baxter wasn't willing to meet you halfway, then there was nothing to be done. You decided to walk out and again, step by step. Step by measured step. And then, you heard a long drawn-out exhale. Baxter stopped after a few paces. His back to you, your hand came up to pinch the bridge of his nose. Baxter turned slightly, glancing over his shoulder, so his gaze met yours. Didn't say anything. Didn't dare to. Like he was a wild animal at risk of being spooked. He closed his eyes for a second and breathed in and out. He blinked. And then he was going back to your direction. His face set in a determined expression. He stopped a few feet from where you stood, the heels of his dress shoes stuck together.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, Callie. You must think I'm avoiding you deliberately. You've made that kind of hybrid. Shrugging nodding gestured to indicate that, yeah, you got that feeling. It was hard to miss. You made a noise that was one part laugh, another part sigh. Of course I am. My hope was that you would notice. But what you don't know, or not you, and all that. Really, Baxter? Yes. I'm sorry. It was not my best idea. And since the plan is dashed, I wouldn't want you to get the wrong impression about why. It isn't your fault, and I haven't forgotten everything that happened last night. It's only this highly specific situation that has reawakened my reticulates, you might say. What about it? Baxter silently stared over the expansive city for a while, as if collecting his thoughts. Then he finally spoke to you. Really spoke to you. As two people really spoke to you. As two people who knew each other with no pretenses in between. It's been hard to not feel nostalgic this past week. You've had quite a stroll down memory lane. Some by happenstance, sometimes because I went out of my way to do so. I have fond memories of those days in Sunset Buds. Treasured memories. Like most treasures, they are things to be taken out and admired from time to time, then put away again. Though some are too delicate for even that. They should never be touched. He was talking mostly to his shoes. His hands had sunk into his pockets in an uncharacteristically timid gesture. This evening is a reprise of something I never wished to relive. His voice was soft, plaintive, like there was an ache in it. That party was wonderful. The summer soiree. Oh, it was good too. It had been so long since I had known what it was like to be included, and to be around people who refuse to let you be around people who refuse to let you be left out, no matter how hard you try to weasel out of it. Terry, Miranda, and Cove were too kind, but it was your gestures specifically that are at the heart of this matter. He laughed again, a nervous gasping thing, and pressed his hand instinctively to his chest.
Truthfully.
It's the truth. If you didn't ask me to dance again, in the after hours of another event, you have great. If you did that, it would have broken my heart. That would have meant we definitely lost what I had. That would definitely. Oh my god. That would mean I lost what we had. Baxter's tone shook. His hand dropped to his side, where it rolled into a fist. The air around you was very still. But if you did ask, it would be more painful, because that would mean. Baxter struggled to put his feelings to words. First attempt died off, but he squared his shoulders and forced himself to get out of it. It would mean even after everything, you hadn't let me go. That you accepted me still. That you always would have. And I should have believed it all along. That the only thing I'd done was hurt you with myself of my own accord. There was a pain to his words that shocked you to hear. Though, by now, you would never have made the mistake of thinking to act emotion. The Baxter was so rarely displayed. Though, by now, you would have never made the mistake of thinking to act emotion. Baxter still so rarely displayed this kind of naked vulnerability. Baxter tucked his face away from him. It's horrible. I didn't know. It's horrible. I didn't want to know one way or the other.
I'm sorry.
I'm fairly pathetic. You understand. That truly was the core of it. Baxter couldn't let himself be happy no matter what. He was scared to hope and to be ashamed of himself to try. Baxter, I came here to ask you to dance. There's no music. The response came with how it is nothing more than a weird whisper. There was a faint gleam through his eyes. And yet, Baxter raised his left hand with the palm, the turned up in a familiar gesture. He cautiously placed your hand on top of his. His fingers were cold, the tighter than you would expected. Slowly, with gentle care, he began to lead Baxter into a dance. It was hardly a brilliant display of artistry, a more sophisticated sway than anything else. He traced out the sides of the plan, fitting into time, and imagined the shoes clicked against the empty dance floor. The only sound to be heard was the omnipresent whisper of the air conditioner. He didn't say anything more. Your mind was lost in memory. That, the sensation of proximity. It was easy to forget how intense the fact of being mere inches away from another can be. This person in particular. The complex variation of eye shade you only ever noticed up close. A rich brown, warm as the earth, and the delicate color of the eyelashes. Baxter adjusted his posture stiffly, and it was only then that you became aware of the fact that you'd been staring even more intently than the circumstances demanded. It would have been worrying, if not for the rosy tint under his complexion. He wasn't upset by the attention. After a few quiet revelations, he found more than, he found more than he wanted to tell you. Callie, I know I had you. I always have. But awareness and acknowledgement don't mean nothing. I haven't made those attempts to actually make you feel better. But the moment you walked into that restaurant, my actions were nothing but self-preservation, damage control, and occasionally reminiscing to an extent I was pleased with.
Yes.
Yes, I had a professional commitment. Not to let personal matters impede the work that needed to be done. But my distancing went far beyond that. In the end, I was using our marriage as an excuse. If not for that, then there would be. If not for that, then there would be. Then there would have been something else. Something trivial for keeping you at arm's length. I hope it doesn't shock you. I've had bigger shocks from taking off his sweater. I should have done better by you. You didn't spot as well. Baxter lifted eyebrows. Baxter's eyebrows lifted in the middle. A penitent expression.
To be honest.
But if you can still believe me, I haven't intended to my behavior today to be quite as cruel as it must have come across. Oh yeah? I'm listening. Thank you. In the past, I spent every moment around other people, thinking of the limited span of our acquaintance, as if I wasn't seeing them at all, only the imminent departure. Our arrangement fell in line with that, a clear time frame, and did from the outset, predetermined several set in stone. Predetermined rules set in stone. That was 5 years ago. It was the way now. That was the way 5 years ago. It was that now. It was that way now. We cooperated for a short period of time in services on Dude's wedding, and that would be that. I've said as much myself, more than once. But the problem is, as I've only recently realized, leaning in a little closer, his voice dipped in volume and doing all I forgot about that. Huh? Being the open, incredible. Huh? Being the open, incredulity in your face, Baxter gave a dry chuckle. You see, I felt completely and honestly that I didn't need to speak with you now, here, when I was being so sensitive. We could simply pick up where we left off later tonight, or tomorrow. The fact that we had no longer a reason to interact didn't come up as a part of that consideration. What? This entire time you agonized over the idea after this wedding to pay you off. But and Baxter was already imagining what the two of you might be doing next Tuesday. I know. Who would have guessed it was possible to retain a connection with someone, even with no limited set of circumstances to support it. Baxter laughed once, and it was real. But then he returned to the utmost seriously. I'm not going to simply vanish you. Not again. I apologize for how stressful this was. I apologize for everything I've ever done to you. It's a little hard to approach what I've sort of been with. There's so many mistakes. And even now, when I hope to make things right, to make things last, I'm forced to admit that I'm ignoring the reality of the situation. Baxter shook his head ruefully. This doesn't come down to what I want to do at all. I don't have the right to put myself before you. It never did.
Forgive me.
Sorry. I know I'm rambling. The point is, if this is going to continue the way it sounds and picturing, I can't be shallow company. This was getting harder and harder to listen to Baxter about himself like this way. Again, you're going to some chat history. An evening, I listened to him pour his heart out to review it dining table. A part of you wanted to interrupt. There was no denying the truth of some of it. Yes, you're still nursing the scars of what Baxter had done to you, but he had gone beyond contribution. There was one thing that stopped you in your tracks, however. The blood sticking in your throat. Right now, Baxter was being utterly sincere. He felt long and hard about that. And so, despite your misgivings, you held your tongue and waited. And on that front, there's some of my own advice which I should have taken before. And on that front, there's some of my own advice which I should have followed a long time ago. When time comes, don't blow away. You'll only regret it later. The words were out before you even noticed. The scene echoing in the back of your mind as you said it. Baxter blinked, baffled. Then, features softened for the last time since you approached him. Exactly. That was. No, honestly. I can't believe I had the audacity to say such a thing to another person. Even if they're a fictional character. Still in my ignorance, I had a point. My 19-year-old self had few ideas worth keeping. And he had people he should have held on to as well. Baxter squared his jaw and lifted his chin, drawing himself up and looking at his warm face.
I don't want us to separate after today.
So, there you have it. I'd like to become your friend, or remain your friend today, tomorrow, a month from now, a year from now, as long as you want. His heart's desire was made visibly manifested by the way he held your hand, like you would never let go. Like you would never let it. I'd like to listen to what's on your mind. The true friend would, even if that's challenging, and I will explain myself as well. He felt a gentle squeeze against your left hand, lingering for a moment. And then he slipped out of your grasp. The dance came to an abrupt end. He took half a step backward. We're in public, and I can understand how uncomfortable We're in public, and I can understand how it might be uncomfortable to do so in this exact moment. I'll follow you anywhere else.
I understand.
Of course, that's assuming this is something you want. I won't push this if it's not what would help. But I'm committed to making amends if I can. As Baxter patiently waited for your response, he mentally scrambled to make sense of how you felt about the situation. It was all so sudden, so unexpected. Mere moments ago you'd been convinced you'd seen the last of him, and now Baxter was recanting all of his past behavior and declaring his earnest wish to make it right. All of that have happened over the last week. All the times you've imagined a conversation like this taking place, to be confronted with the possibility, now,